US President Joe Biden said his meeting with top congressional leaders on Tuesday about the debt ceiling was productive despite failing to break the deadlock over raising it.
We need to take the threat of default off the table. We agree to continue our discussions.
But he vowed to meet again with the group in the coming days, just 3 weeks before the country may be forced into an unprecedented default.
I didn't see any new movement.
After about an hour of talks, Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy reiterated that his chamber would not approve a deal that didn't include deep spending cuts, but confirmed he would meet with Biden again on Friday.
I would hope that he'd be willing to negotiate for the next 2 weeks so we could actually solve this problem and not take America on the brink.
Republican Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell said ending the standoff was ultimately up to just two people.
The sooner the president and the speaker can reach an agreement, the sooner we can solve the problem.
Democratic Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said the two sides remain far apart, with his party calling the Republican bill to raise the debt ceiling, which includes sweeping spending cuts dead on arrival.
The disagreements are wide, and anyone who says my way or no way and we're going to default is not serving the country well, and I'm afraid that's what Speaker McCarthy is saying.
Representative Hakeem Jeffries appeared more hopeful, saying the promise of another meeting between the top lawmakers and the president was a good sign.
President Biden urged us to get together either later on today or tomorrow, our respective teams, to have a discussion about a path forward around the budget and the appropriations process, and everyone agreed. That's progress.
Economists warn that a default could send the American economy into a deep recession with soaring unemployment, while destabilizing a global financial system built on U.S. bonds.
I'm not ruling anything. I said I'd come back and talk. There's one thing I'm ruling out is default.
Biden said he would take a hard look at clawing back unspent COVID relief funds as part of any budget deal with Republicans. He also said he was considering invoking the 14th Amendment to end the standoff.
I have been considering the 14th Amendment.
White House officials have discussed whether Biden has the authority to lift the debt limit on his own by invoking the 14th Amendment, but Biden said it could trigger a major legal challenge.
A Manhattan jury on Tuesday found that former U.S. President Donald Trump sexually abused the magazine writer E. Jean Carroll in the 1990s and then defamed her by branding her a liar. The jury in the civil suit awarded Carroll $5 million in damages. Carroll walked out of the courthouse smiling after the verdict. She released a statement later saying, quote, "Today the world finally knows the truth. This victory is not just for me, but for every woman who has suffered because she was not believed." In a post on his Truth Social platform, Trump called the verdict a disgrace and said, quote, "I have absolutely no idea who this woman is." A spokesperson for Trump, who is once again a candidate for the White House, said he will appeal the verdict. Trump lawyer Joe Tacopina.
He's ready to move forward. He wants to fight this on appeal. Again, he was successful in one appeal before the Second Circuit with Judge Kaplan on Carroll versus Trump, and I think he's going to be successful in the second one.
Trump will not have to pay any damages while the appeal is being heard. The 79-year-old Carroll testified during the civil trial that Trump raped her in a Bergdorf Goodman department store dressing room in Manhattan in either 1995 or 1996, then harmed her reputation by writing in an October 2022 post on his Truth Social platform that her claims were a complete con job, a hoax, and a lie. Jurors found the allegations of sexual abuse were convincing enough to establish his civil liability for battery. The jury did not find that Trump raped her. They deliberated for just under 3 hours before rejecting Trump's denial that he assaulted Carroll. To find him liable, the jury of 6 men and 3 women were required to reach a unanimous verdict. A civil trial, unlike a criminal one, does not determine guilt and requires a lower standard of proof. Trump was absent throughout the trial, which began on April 25th. Tuesday's verdict comes after Trump was criminally charged in March with falsifying business records related to a hush money payment to an adult film star during the 2016 presidential campaign. That indictment, filed in New York State court, made him the first former or sitting president to be criminally charged. Trump has pleaded not guilty and said the charges are politically motivated. He also faces a criminal probe in Georgia related to alleged efforts to undermine the state's presidential election results, and a federal special counsel examining the illegal retention of classified documents after leaving office.
volunteers passed oranges and other items through the bar of a U.S. border fence to migrants near San Diego. Hundreds of people here have managed to cross one barrier at the U.S.-Mexico border, only to wait at a second one in a sort of no man's land, as U.S. Customs and Border Protection appeared to struggle to process them. Adriana Hasso is one of the volunteers and a migrants' rights activist.
There is a high level of uncertainty and some anxiety from the migrants waiting. We have met people who've been waiting here for 4 nights. At night it gets very cold. In the morning it gets very cold. We have situations of moms with babies from 8 months to 7 months. We have young boys who are 10 years old, 8 years old.
Border agents are bracing for a surge in migrants as a pandemic-era policy that allowed for the rapid deportation of asylum seekers is about to end. Migrants have been expelled more than 2.7 million times under the rule known as Title 42, a total that includes many repeat border crossers. And migrants continue to amass at several points along the border despite repeated calls from President Joe Biden's administration that the end of the policy will not result in an open border. Volunteers say conditions at the crossings continue to worsen.
We probably, end of last week, we had a number of about 120 to 125 people, and what we see now is it could be close to the 400, 500 number.
White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre Thursday said Biden spoke with the Mexican president about the situation, and the administration remains focused on dealing with it in a humane way.
What you can expect from us is that we're going to do everything that we can and use every available tool to us, as we have been, to deal with this issue in a humane way, manage it humanely. And that's what we've been very clear about. Our focus, as it relates to managing the border, is we're going to do this through enforcement, deterrence, and diplomacy, and that's what you have seen. And we've been working with our regional partners, and we have just few tools that are available to the president, and that's because Congress has failed to act.
The Republican-controlled House of Representatives does plan to pass a package on border security measures that would put tougher constraints on immigrant asylum seekers, resume construction of a wall along the southwest border with Mexico, and expand federal law enforcement.
Police say a man who shot dead 8 people in Texas over the weekend had neo-Nazi sympathies. Saturday's mass shooting happened at a shopping mall in the Dallas area. The gunman, previously identified by police as Mauricio Garcia, appeared to target his victims at random without regard for race, age, or sex before a police officer killed him. Among the dead were 3 children.
The big question that we're dealing with right now is what's his motive? Why did he do this?
Hank Sibley is a regional director of the Texas Department of Public Safety.
We do know that he had neo-Nazi ideation. He had patches, he had tattoos, even his signature, verified that.
Police revealed more details about Garcia's background. The 33-year-old was discharged from U.S. Army basic training 15 years ago, had once worked as a private security guard, and suffered from an unspecified mental illness. Before Saturday's shooting, he had no criminal history.
He was in the U.S. Army, and that's been posted on the media, in 2008. He was in basic training. I think early on in basic training they realized, from what I've seen, that he was not a fit for the Army.
Investigators recovered 3 firearms, including the murder weapon, from Garcia's possession, and 5 more were found in his vehicle. All 8 guns had been legally obtained. In the wake of the tragedy, US President Joe Biden has again urged Congress to pass gun control bills.
Twitter will soon allow users to make calls and send encrypted messages. The news was revealed late Tuesday by boss Elon Musk. Last year he had flagged plans for what he called Twitter 2.0, the Everything app. He said that would have new features including long-form tweets, payments, and encrypted direct messages. Now he says voice and video chat functions are also coming soon. That will enable users to talk to any other user without exchanging phone numbers. The move will bring Twitter into line with rivals like Facebook and Instagram, which offer similar features. Musk said encrypted direct messages will be available from Wednesday. He didn't say whether the forthcoming calling service would also be encrypted. Earlier this week, Twitter said it would start removing and archiving accounts that have been inactive for several years.